shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, 1 shot, 2 shots, 1 shot.
What is up, motherfuckers?
What's happening?
We are back here live, 4 shots.
And Brandon is back with us this week.
Here I am.
After his week-long honeymoon vacation.
Staycation, honeymoon / clean my house adventure.
And I have upgraded my mic, so now I sound real low and sexy.
And I have a fan on me.
Do you have one of those big like cartoon blocks of ice next to that fan, like, you know, Looney Tunes character, and it's just blowing cold air right on you?
No, but I have. I used to have a studio apartment, and it was a loft. And I used to go down the street to the corner convenience store, and I would get a 5-pound or 10-pound block of ice and put it in a big tray, and then you just blow a fan on you, and it works. You just have to keep dumping the tray as the ice melts. But it's like, this will last me a movie and a half.
That's so Dominican. Like, it's so Dominican Republic of you.
It's called you make do with what you have.
Yeah. We have to do a shot. We haven't done our first shot
yet.
Yep.
Oh, what is everybody drinking tonight?
You want me? Okay, so I decided to go for something new. I've had Hendrick's gin and it's way too hot, so I was like, I'm doing a gin and tonic, but I will do shots. But it's a new Hendrick's Arboreum or something.
Orbium, it looks like.
Okay, Orbium. So I have no idea what it is. I mean, it's a gin. I just don't know what it tastes like. I just was like, haven't had that. Let's do it. And then I made a gin and tonic to drink because it's 100 degrees here.
Yeah, you were telling us what you live in. What part of California?
Southern California, which is supposed to be like 75 all the time, and it's not. They lied.
Yeah. Well, with Tony, what's Tony drinking? We haven't checked.
No, you guys haven't. You don't even know yet. Since we're talking about legacy today, I will be having the. It's a very old vintage of. Goldschlager.
You went to
see the
Jaeger,
little sparklies?
Yeah. Jaeger to Goldschlager. You're going to throw up tonight. That's what's going to happen. 100%.
I didn't throw up on the Jaeger or the Sambuca, but I mean, it's a legacy. We drank this in 1999, right?
Yeah, so something like that.
I haven't had it since then. So here's
all right.
Cheers. I'm drinking dark rye, Basil Hayden's. This is what I was drinking while I was getting ready for my wedding on Tony's recommendation, and it was fantastic, and I'm still finishing it off tonight.
Oh, God, this is going to be bad.
Let's see what this tastes like. This is not made with cucumber.
I don't know what that had to do with anything. This was not made with cucumber.
Because Hendrick's, their whole thing is instead of like traditional, that's really good.
I'm glad you're having a good time.
It's super bitter though. That juniper or whatever's in. But now I'm going to try my gin and tonic because I haven't tried it. Well, I just haven't tried it.
Well,
that's kind of like, it's kind of the equivalent of when you eat the cereal in your mouth and then pour the milk in. You're like drinking the gin. Tony is having a bad time already.
That is really good as a gin and tonic. Really good.
Whoever thought that Goldschlager was a good idea? I guess it's because we couldn't get it back then.
Yeah.
You remember Fire and Ice? It was like the cinnamon and the peppermint.
Yeah. I used to do. There wasn't Fire and Ice. There's been a lot of iterations. I used to do the one that tasted like Red Hots, the little candies. I forget. It's a cinnamon like schnapps. I forget what it's called.
Well, there's Fireball.
Yeah, but not Goldschlager.
Well, Goldschlager was the precursor to Fireball.
Yeah, Fireball. That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
I got
what
a
should
handle.
I need your opinion. I need your advice.
Oh, I should be doing Fireball one. I have a handle of it in my.
God,
It's been there for like
Fireball
5 years.
is the worst. I hate Fireball.
Okay, next week I'm going to do Fireball.
Oh God, it's so bad.
So
Gives
since we
you
don't have
such
since we don't have
heartburn.
our guest yet, Jeremy.
Our guest is in the waiting room. We're gonna have
He
to bring
is.
him in here in a minute, but
Well, then I guess I'll wait because I wanted to
Right.
smoke something, but I have like a million different ones and I don't know what to smoke. So I
Well,
want advice.
I already have mine.
Well, I have the
Um,
Maduro version of that.
Yeah, so
which
I
was
am
thinking about
doing
smoking.
in honor of today, in honor of Nick, and in honor of the fact that I just love this cigar, High Clare Castle.
very nice. I'll take
I
this
know.
moment. I'll take this moment to let our audience in, people who are maybe checking us out for the first time, or just have returned from last week's awesome episode that I'm so sad that I missed out on. But here on Four Shots, we like to talk about everything, talk about nothing, get it all in here, drink 4 shots, but never just drink 4 shots.
Right.
It's always more.
7,000 according to last week.
Which I
7,000.
don't- like I said, I don't even remember posting that. So apparently,
Right.
you can't give me controls of the ship.
So I came back today, everybody, and I was looking at the controls and all this stuff, and I saw this, and I was like, "Fuck! What?" I was like, "What happened last week when I was gone?" 7,000. And the worst part is, Tony's like, "I don't remember making that." So I don't remember that happening.
Yeah, it was good.
After
Well, and you know what?
6,999, I didn't remember.
I would just like to say to thank Maisha again, because that was such a fun conversation with kind of a newfound friend. And that's
Absolutely.
kind of the whole point of this thing, right? Like we're
Yeah.
connecting and reconnecting with people we know and getting to talk to new people and kind of establish a real relationship. And that girl is just got it going on in every aspect of the word. Like she is super cool, and I'm super stoked to get together with her and smoke at some point. So anyhow, there's my little shout out. Ooh,
Well,
ooh.
We're gonna start off with our fresh shit, but then we're gonna check in with Zach, and then we're gonna have a main topic tonight. And our guest, I'm gonna fuck up how you pronounce his last name, so why don't one of you do it? But Nick from Foundation Cigars, how do you say his last name, Tony? You give it a shot
It's
because I don't.
Melillo.
Melillo, that's it. Because
Yeah.
Melillo.
well, sometimes in other languages, when you have 2 L's next to each other, it sounds different. Like it could be
Well,
Melillo.
I mean, my last name is Bellato with
Yeah,
2
but
L's,
you're
and that's-
Italian. We don't call you.
So is he.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know everybody's nationality and ethnic
come on.
backgrounds. Oh,
You gotta check
gosh.
yourself.
Yeah, check my privilege, my white privilege, real hard right now.
Yeah.
Well, then we're gonna have a main topic tonight, talking about legacy tonight, and then we're gonna have somebody shoot their shot. Somebody from the chat will get invited by our man Zach to come on for the last 10 minutes or so of the show, hang out with us, ask questions, say what you want to say. Don't be boring. We'll boot you, but then we'll bring you back and you can hang out with us in the short after show time behind the backstage area.
So we got our fresh shit, right?
Yeah, fresh shit. Do we want to bring Nick in for fresh shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
He
right.
might have fresh shit.
All right. He's looking happy in the chat. So, Tony, why don't you give us a little intro for Nick here, and then I'll bring him in.
Like how little?
Well,
Like
tell
just
us-
like a brrr, brrr.
Yeah,
That's what I was doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he
Okay.
could do that. That's what he does.
Go ahead.
All right.
No, I'm doing the drum.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
welcome to Four Shots. Our guest of the week, founder of Foundation Cigars, Nick R. Agua.
That was a beautiful intro. That was one of my best ever.
That's the red
Tony,
carpet,
what's
man.
going on? Brandon, get it together, man. Melillo. No, double L's, bro. No, it's actually Melillo in English.
Oh,
But
see?
in Italian, it's Melillo.
Melillo.
In
It's
Estelillo,
very close.
it's Melillo because of the double L. So they call him Bellato.
It actually, I think it means it either means my last name either means like danced, because ballare is dance, right? So if you were to have danced,
Bailar. Pero bella is bella. Bella.
Or it means beautiful milk, Bella Latte. So either way, we're
I like that.
dancing or
Beautiful.
So
beautiful milk.
hey, I just
Oh,
feel
shit.
a little left out. What does McDonald mean? Because if you say it in English, it goes to McDonald.
I think it means
Dude,
ham.
that's world famous right there.
Yeah, if
McDonald's
I
is-
was somehow connected, it would be amazing.
That's a great question. You know, if you look up
It means
etymology,
son of Donald. Son of
does it
Donald.
really?
Yeah, son of Donald.
That makes sense.
All the mix and the max and the O's, it was all son of title of that. And then when they came to the US, a lot of them ditched the mick, the O's, the max, because like they wanted to sound more American.
Yeah, it makes
But
sense.
that is the
That's
breakdown.
cool. I didn't know that, and I get into a lot like etymology of last names. So it's Melillo is one who was on a like small apple orchard, because mela in Italian is apple, so it's like apple orchard, small apple orchard.
I need to find a way to say
Small
mine
apple
with
orchard.
like some like like McDonald, like some kind of like to give it some like flair, because it's just like it feels so like rough. Like
I think
McDonald.
you should speak in an Irish accent all the time, like you
Agreed.
just play the part. Like, look at you, you'd
Well,
be amazing.
I know. If only I was good at accents. I
Try it. You can't do it. I bet you can do it. You put it in
no,
head.
because like McDonald, like McDonald.
He's gonna taste a bit of whiskey.
Get
Hey,
it to put in
okay,
head.
Nick, I'm gonna give you a little breakdown. When I was younger, I
Anthony,
used to do a Woody Woodpecker impression, and I would go like this. And I thought I was the shit. I would tell
Just
everybody,
on my whiskey.
I'm like, dude, check out my Woody Woodpecker. And my sister and no one in my family would tell me how bad I was. They just loved me doing it. Like, dude,
Of
you do
course.
such a good. And I would be like, yeah, you want to hear me? Like I'm some like, half-witted, whatever.
I
it
wish
is
they
what
had
it
never
is.
told you. I wish you still thought you were good at it. It would be amazing.
He might
Some
still
things
think
you
he is.
learn through trial and error. And you come to an age, you're like, oh, wait. Like, it's like when you think you're a great kisser and you're going like this, and then you find out that that's not actually how you do it.
No,
But
that
you
was
think
very
you're
bad.
like-
I learned
super
that on
good.
my first kiss. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're just like wrestling. It's not like
You
a
have
pretty
no
thing.
idea. Yeah, you're going in blind.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it was like that until the girl goes, I don't like that. Then you're like, oh, okay.
Then you
Do you want
get
to hear
it.
my
Teach me.
Woodpecker impression?
Yeah, I
I've heard that's very good.
Hold on a second. I got something.
Well, let's hit the fresh shit for this week. Tony, why don't you throw down your fresh shit for the week?
I will. And first of all, before we go, I want to know what to smoke from Nick. So I have High Clare Castle Maduro.
You said you had the Victorian, the Maduro. I would smoke that to start.
You think first? And I have Wednesday Natural.
I mean, you could always start with the first one. That's the
Yeah.
one that started it all.
Let's do that.
shit.
I like this.
Since,
Yeah,
since we're legacying it up this weekend.
and then we can follow up with the.
yeah.
I've
With
got
the
the
high
Maduro
Clare.
here too. So we could just go down this path together, like holding the hands, skipping in a field. It's going
I
to be
dig
great.
it. I dig
So
it.
of the 4 people that are watching our show, I guarantee you all 4 people have smoked this cigar. But I
Are
must
people on
say-
Facebook right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Is this where
YouTube.
this is streaming? Oh, and YouTube. Okay.
Same- we can do 2 at once. It's pretty slick.
Can somebody tag me on Facebook and then I'll repost it?
Yeah, I'll check
Yeah.
it right now.
Yeah, we can do this high tech shit. While they're doing that, Nick,
I think somebody
I-
tagged me. Here it is. I found it. Sorry.
oh, we can
Go
hear
ahead.
ourselves. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. There we
I remember when Tony came back from the trade show with Wawense. Now, I've never got to go with him on any of these trips, but usually when he comes back, he has like a little goodie bag that he has like tons of stuff from the show left over and, too much to smoke. And he like tosses me like a little commoner. He's like, here, have a little baggie of treats. And I get like this amazing shit that, you can't get unless you know people who are there. And I remember he pulled out of the bag that year. He's like, he pulled it out of the little bag. He handed it to me. He's like, smoke this right fucking now. And I was like, "What is it?"
It was my favorite cigar from the trade show.
He was like, he immediately was like, "You need to smoke this right this second." He was like, "It'll change your palate." He's like, "It'll fuck you up." So I remember the first time I had a Wednesday, and it was game changing. It was absolutely game changing. Not to blow the proverbial smoke, but
It still
That was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Can you
wow,
imagine?
5 years already.
5 years this
It's
past
crazy.
July was the show, and then last week of September we started shipping. So it's all a blur, man. Wow. It's great to be here with you guys.
I know it's been such a long time since
It's like
we've seen each other, and
we never get to
hung out.
hang out and chill. And Jeremy, I always see, and it's always fat. You know, it's always at events, and things are going quick.
Yeah.
and
I think
never get
Rocky
to sit.
Mountain was no
Yeah.
TPE. TPE was the
TPE,
last.
that's it.
But Rocky Mountain, we had Joe both. I found out the night after that we had both gone to see Joe Rogan.
Oh, you were at the show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you know who Allie was just on. You remember the girl that opened up for him that night?
Yeah. She was
she
good.
was just on. She's hilarious, man. I love that woman. I follow her on Instagram. She's just got some hilarious stuff. She killed it that night.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see her on the podcast recently.
The last time you and I were together was under the guise of we needed to have a meeting so we could get rid of everybody, and we just had dinner and wine.
That was a nice night.
That was a nice.
We had a
very
bella.
romantic.
We had a bella night. That was a great restaurant too. I remember that.
It was.
If I recall, they were maybe a little upset we came late. No,
Yeah, they were, and we stayed
Yeah,
late. But
yeah.
you know,
we balled out.
fuck them.
Yeah,
We had a nice
Yeah.
Chateauneuf du Pape.
but that's got to be a couple years now. No, is that
Yeah, I
last
think
year?
2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. How's Big Matty doing?
Good.
Yeah, I haven't talked to that guy in too
we
long.
got to get Matt on the show. That's a guy we haven't had. On the
Yeah.
show. Man,
That
Yeah,
would
we
be
need. I'll
hilarious.
talk to him. We do need to get him on.
get cupcakes up here.
He's
Jeremy,
gonna
what?
be like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
gonna lay in.
Oh,
I
you
love
guys-
cupcakes.
Dude,
Don't get
that
me
was a
wrong.
good impersonation. You didn't do
Yeah,
Woody
he's better
Woodpecker
than you,
well,
Woody
but
Woodpecker.
you got
You know what?
Matty cupcakes down.
It's all in the you can't think about it, and when it flows out, it's like a poem. But when you think about it, it comes off like a sixth grader writing, their first paper.
You're freestyle. You're not a written.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like a freestyle. Yeah, I feel you.
I'm ready for a shot, and then we should
Oh,
do the fresh shit because
yeah.
we're.
Is that how this works?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh shit! I got
So-
some. I don't know if I can shoot this right now.
You
but
don't
I'm
have
gonna
to. Just take a
You
I'll
can
sip.
just
take a
take a
big
sip.
gulp.
I got Goldschlager, so I can't. If I sip it, it's in trouble.
I haven't really been drinking over this quarantine. It's surprising.
I
But
have a
This is my
Hendrix.
second time, and you got some of that. I got a special bottle for this podcast, and I got a
Oh,
little.
fuck
Let me see.
Oh,
what you-
Blanton.
I got.
Ooh.
The guy didn't have any.
Beautiful.
In a long
Beautiful.
this glass bottle. I said, "All right,
Yeah,
I got
please
a
don't
special.
shoot that. Just
No,
enjoy
no, no.
yourself.
Yeah, just
I'm
enjoy.
gonna take a nice sip." A
Shut
salute.
So
Salute.
Wait, hold on. I went to
your
get it.
Goldschlagers.
Get your
okay.
Schlager out.
Goldschlager. I have some sake. I should get some sake.
Oh,
Oh,
Look, I got
Only-
little gold floaties
Salute.
in there.
that's how you know it's really fancy.
that's a king's drink right there, Tony. It has
So-
gold in it.
For those of you who don't know, fresh shit is where we don't necessarily recommend a cigar or a beer or wine. It could be something like that, but it could be anything that we have checked out in the last week that we thought was awesome, and we wanted to drop it here, whether it be a TV show, a movie, a new album that came out, whatever we like. So Tony, you were going to go first. Why don't you hit us with what your fresh shit was?
My fresh shit was two things about my pops. So my dad was going for his fourth greatest golfer of the Valley championship this weekend, and I was his caddy for the last
Nice.
day. And unfortunately, he was in the lead until the 18th hole, where they were neck and neck, and he four putted the last green for second place.
Is it
It
because
was-
you gave him the wrong club?
The wrong putter.
I gave him a driver instead of a putter on the green, and he just was clueless, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't know," and then he just hit it into the lake, and then yeah, no, but it was fun, but it was sad to see him four putt that last green. But and then the second part of that was I explained the show to him, and he had no idea because he doesn't know what Facebook or anything, YouTube or
It's a better
I mean,
existence.
he watches Boston Legal on DVD still. So he I showed him the show and he was like, I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job. And I was like, who's this guy that my whole life has never said anything about being proud of me? Like here, what? And he likes the show. So
Oh.
that's my
Hey,
fresh hit.
Tony, if he gives you an Adidas warm up, don't be sworn into the family and do what they ask you to do.
Yeah, if he's
'Cause-
like, here's St. Anthony, burn it in your hands. Let me get it.
Yeah, you just gotta be
I'll do it.
careful.
I would do it. How do you know I already didn't do it?
Dude, my favorite story about your dad and golfing is the time that he was having a little shoulder pain over 36 holes of golf and found out he was having a heart attack.
And he won. He shot a 65
Jesus
through a heart
Christ.
attack. Yeah, he's a maniac.
Dude. Nick, did you know that story about his dad?
Which one?
About him having a heart attack and having like golfing for a whole weekend?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that story. Yeah. I think I was hearing that over a really loud music at Bizarre Foods one night.
Oh yeah, that dinner we had. That dinner at Bizarre Meats was interesting.
It was really bizarre. I've never eaten like a really high-end meal to like techno music before.
Right.
Right, and
Really
when we
loud.
tried to get like Italian family style, and they were like, "That's not how this works." And you were like, "I just want everything on the menu, and everybody can share." And they're like, "What?" You're like, "Just bring it out. I don't care." Yeah,
I wish I could hear the waiter. He was like talking about all this great food, and it was just like doom, 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 doom.
yeah. My
Nobody
dad,
could
what
hear
the
him.
fuck is this music?
Yeah.
How am I
I felt-
supposed to spend $100 on a steak and listen to?
We're talking about
Armin van Buren.
impressions. Your impression of your dad is the most spot on thing in the world.
It's because I'm turning into him.
It happens, right? Slowly. It's weird. It's like every year that goes on.
So, Nick, you got
I feel
any-
the same.
You got any fresh shit for the week? What
Fresh
what,
shit,
Are you
fresh shit.
are you in Connecticut or Nicaragua? That's the first.
I'm
one.
in New Haven, Connecticut right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I left Nicaragua the last kind of flight out, day out. Yeah, nobody's been really in and out since for a while. But yeah, so I'm in New Haven in Little Italy, which is you'd love it down here, Tony.
I got to get back out there.
Yeah, you should come. We can hang out and have
Get
some
some
pizza
lobster
and-
rolls.
Yeah, lobster. Yeah, lobster
Some
rolls down
gaggas.
by the shore. Yeah, there's
Get
some
some
great
gaggas.
pizza. We got the Owl Shop downtown for
Love
some
Owl Shop.
nice out. Yeah, it's a great spot. Fresh shit. I'm trying to think. So like music, anything kind of
Something this
anything.
week,
Guys there?
something that you just got into.
Highlight.
got
whatever.
into. So it's kind of business related. We just started an anime series.
Fuck.
The Foundation
Really?
Art team, yeah, on Foundation Cigars YouTube. We did it for our Upsetters brand. We're kind of having a little bit of fun. I got a really awesome team of artists down in Nicaragua, and we've been all kind of like teaching themselves anime, and they've
Get
kind
outta
of
here.
developed it. Yeah, we've also been doing the music too, so we're kind of doing all inclusive. So we started a part 1 of a series called The Good, the Bad, and the Upsetters.
Ooh.
Nice.
So check it out.
And you get
It's got some-
you get that on foundationcigars.com. Is that where you go?
you can go to .com, but our YouTube channel is probably the best place to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're trying to get our YouTube. We've kind of been lacking on the YouTube. We started, 5 years ago, is pretty much like Instagram, and we're trying to get our Facebook, YouTube scene going. So yeah, Foundation Cigar. We got the great Seed to Cigar video on there and a bunch of cool content. So
When Zach gets back, I'll have him. Is
snap!
that's it?
There you go. Is that the ad for it?
I don't know what's happening there. But
Is that's
Yeah.
Foundation Cigars video? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
it's
like, check out that shit right
Dude,
there,
that looks
guys.
like my Saturday night.
Wait, click that search again up top. Yeah, it should come up.
Oh my god, I was trying
That's
to.
not
I was.
me.
I
That's
was
not you?
trying to. I was.
Oh.
I think that's an ad.
Okay.
No, that's an ad for an interview. But click the search at the way top,
Yeah,
like Foundation. There you go. Click. just
yeah.
hit
I was
that.
trying to get. I was trying to get
There
to.
you go.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
So
not
then it-
subscribed,
there it is.
Brandon? How dare you?
Part one.
I know. So I wanted to bring this over just to show. I didn't necessarily want the audio to play, but I thought it would be cool if this video may be inappropriate.
Dude, there's nudity. There's fucking. It's
understand.
got everything you want in a. And no, I'm kidding.
Oh, do you have a trailer? Is there a trailer that we could just play?
There's no trailer. It's just a little like short series. You know, they're like a minute kind of
Yeah, this
long.
is a minute.
Oh, let's check it out. Yeah, they're just gonna play it.
Yeah, no audio. You know, of course, we got some cool reggae music going on. But yeah, this was all done in house. So these guys did a pretty cool job. I mean, it takes so long to do the animes. You know.
Yeah, this is amazing, man. I mean, how did your
So
guys just got into it, or?
Yeah, they just got into. They were doing some animations, and we've just been working on it for over the past year on different projects. We really haven't come out with, and now they've gotten to a level where it's pretty impressive. So we're going to start releasing some content. So basically, like the premise is, my man's a tobacco grower, cigar guy, and basically like the FDA is coming at him to regulate him and keep him from doing his thing. So that's sort of like the premise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some like symbolism of the fight we got going on in our industry. Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen in September? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
it's kind of just from a business perspective of certainty and uncertainty. This is just madness. That a government institution is able to say they're going to regulate, have all these dates, and then nothing be clear. So I think everybody realizes what a disaster it would be to regulate the premium side of things, because we don't sell to kids. We don't have major health implications. You're going to spend all this time regulating. It would be like us focusing on the one shop in like the woods that sells one box a year, and you gave them all of your energy, time, and effort and ignored the rest of your customers. That's what it would be like for the FDA to regulate the premium cigars. We're so small, and the bigger industries are, where all the cash is. So when they look at it from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense at all on paper when it's not the problem.
Well, I think that's why
I
think that's why they're backtracking. They wrote that letter to kind of be like, oh shit, like we have no idea what we're going to do in the next 3 weeks. Now it's like 2 weeks or whatever. But my question is, I guess, on that note is, you have all these like dietary supplements, right? You go to GNC or whatever and buy like horse semen pills or whatever.
Yeah. Weird.
And it says like on the back of the bottle, like these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Like, why can't I? And I have no idea why we can't just put on our stuff like this hasn't been evaluated by the FDA, so we're good. It's like they get away with it because of some reason. I just don't know what it is.
It's unfortunately, in the history of tobacco, there was a lot of ugly shit that went down, previously by big tobacco companies where they lied and, basically caused a lot of the problems which we're in right now by lying and tampering with ingredients and all that stuff. So the anti-tobacco lobbying campaign, I mean, people hear tobacco, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
They don't care it's cigars. They don't care if kids are not buying our stuff. They don't see past, and that's what it was like, 2009 when this whole thing, in 2009, you started seeing the first articles, right? The FDA has seen an increased consumption of cigar smoking amongst youth. We know why that happened. The legalization of cannabis, our market generally stays around the same, right? The machine-made market has grown like 100-fold since the 90s because of the legalization of cannabis. That machine-made market has been going and continues to go through the roof. So when you go to a C-store convenience store or gas station, back in my day in the 90s, you had Backwoods, the regular, the sweet, non-sweet, and maybe the Maduro one. Now you got honey, you got wine. Every brand has. There's, that market has expanded significantly, and they're 99 cents. And everybody knows what the majority of the consumption is being used for, but people don't really like talk about it. So they understand now more than ever because of the work, from our organization, CRA, people that have spent a lot of time and effort educating Capitol Hill of what our market is all about. And, there's no hard data to back any of it up because it's just kids don't smoke. It just doesn't happen.
What else is crazy to me? Sorry to interrupt you. Just to put this in there is, today I was in the liquor store buying my Goldschlager, which I bought when I was 17 years old, right?
There you go.
And I was browsing the shelves, and it's like Fruit Loop flavored vodka or whipped cream flavored vodka. Now, I think I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm a doctor in sexy.
Dr. Sexy.
But
that is very true. It's very true. It's the collar. It's the collar.
I think so. I think it's the button collar and, it's just everything, the face, all of it. But
the face.
Yeah, I mean, naturally. But I feel like it's counterproductive. I think alcohol is way more dangerous than cigars.
Of course.
And I think when you're 16, 17 years old, and that's kind of why I got the Goldschlager to begin with, it's like, that's what you're going to drink. I want to drink like it's $15.
Right.
It tastes like cinnamon syrup. It's really disgusting. And but we drank the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of concept where you have like a Mountain Dew flavored vodka.
Yeah, it softens the the blow when you're not accustomed to alcohol taste. And then that gets into why you see the flavored, why there's this huge attack on the flavored product in, gas stations, all this machine made stuff, because that's the characterizing flavors, grapes, strawberry, it's because it's masking a lot of the flavors so it can be consumed easier.
You guys are really leaving out, I think, the big elephant in the room, which is vaping. Because if you want to know what the kids are buying, I have two daughters. One is 6, one is 12. My 12-year-old has friends that have been vaping for like 3 years since they were like 9, 10 years old. And go ahead, Jeremy.
What I find amazing, so I have a 17-year-old daughter, and like all of her friends all vape. Like cigarettes are not cool anymore. Like cigarettes are the 35 and up, like that fad is not the cool, and kids do exactly what is not cool, right? Cigars have never been cool to that demographic.
It's too expensive.
It's
right.
expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive. And like, well, but it's just leaves. Why do you want to smoke that?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make you high.
So
and it's like,
So this is the point of what they want, right? And sorry to cut you off, but and this is just the way I see it. I don't know if it's right. It's just my perception of it. When they signed the Master Tobacco Settlement Agreement, you remember when they were suing cigarette companies?
Yeah.
And that was a movie. Al Pacino, Russell Crowe, The Insider. Yeah.
What happened to that? I think what they did was they made a deal with the states and the government, right? And the states ended up they said, this is going to put us under. So they ended up paying taxes to each state. Okay. Then what they did through the FDA is pretty much eliminate the competition by having to go through FDA regulation. When do you see new cigarette brands coming up? It's virtually impossible.
They're going away. I mean,
they virtually eliminated their competition coming up. And now the states are getting tax money, huge revenue. So the cigarette companies are good. The states are good. They're getting revenue. Mind you, California and New York ended up spending all the coffers of a lot of their taxes leading up. So that's why also you see New York and California going strong. But all of a sudden, you have this rogue industry. So there's no competition for any of these big companies. The government's got their money, and then all of a sudden, vape comes out of nowhere.
With nothing.
No regulation. They got no control.
You could make it in
over
your basement. You could make it in your basement, right?
They're scrambling. They're acquiring brands. They're trying to adjust because they know the projections that they've seen in some of these, more global tobacconist magazines, the industry over the next 10 years, to Brandon's point, 90% of the cigarette smokers, as the generations move on, they say are going to be moving to vape.
Yeah.
So if they don't get control of it and tax and regulate, they're losing huge revenue. They're getting killed right now. Not only they're hitting two big giants, big tobacco and the state and the government. Yeah. So they're all trying to scramble, and we've gotten swept up in this whole thing. But when the politicians look at it, yeah. I mean, I had a meeting, one of the big anti-tobacco, is in Connecticut, one of the senators. We ended up having a meeting, just two farmers, two retail shops. This was years ago. We explained the stats, because when you look at the stats, again, there is nothing against the premium handmade. It's just so small. We're talking about nickels and dimes to these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
The damage that's going to be done on small business in the United States, farmers in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Florida, and then the effect on whole economies in the Caribbean, Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic. There's no jobs as it is. You're going to destroy jobs there. You're going to then have people are going to come immigrating, trying to jump over a wall to get into, because there's no jobs. I mean, that's the reason why Central America and the Caribbean people want to come, and they're looking for a better life. In 1971, we moved everything to the other side of the hemisphere in China for cheap. So they understand when the office, that looks at, I think it's the OMB that looks at the economy of things, there's nothing. Nate's chiming in here.
I know.
I got to read it. I want to read that.
I enjoyed
I'll put it back
comment.
up when you're done. Yeah.
First time commentator, long time listener. Remember when I drank room temperature Geno's and smoked all those birthday cigars and made fire pit? Good times. Oh my God, this kid.
Well, I made Gino 60 real Cameroon Lanceros for his birthday, and like on the street they'd be like $50 because it was real African Cameroon. So like forget about that, right? And then it was right when Zima came back around. So Nate was at the house and we drank a bunch of room temperature Zima. Actually, Nate drank like 5 22-ounce room temperature Zimas and smoked my dad's Lanceros. So
did he make it? Did he throw up after?
No, he didn't throw up.
Oh,
but my dad was like, "Where are all my fucking Lanceros?"
It's like,
well,
yeah.
I think this conversation.
That was my rant.
I think it's a valuable rant. I think it's a rant to be having. Just if you want an idea of how pervasive vaping is I work in a steel factory, with guys who have been working in steel factories in Northeast Ohio for the last.
Brandon, just talking.
Yep. I mean, I generally have people cause to drink because they're just listening to me talk. But I work with a bunch of guys who have been smoking and working in these factories for 30 years or more. And there is virtually nobody who still smokes cigarettes. They did when I started working there. They all vape now. And they will tell you, well, I feel a lot better. Like, I don't feel as shitty as I did smoking cigarettes. Like, I actually... And so it's interesting that when presented with an alternative, that these guys, I would never have guessed that they did it for health reasons, but they literally will tell you that they did it. They're not, these guys are not out there doing fucking cotton candy vape shots, or whatever. They just, have pretty normal, I don't know, average taste. But the thing that's interesting to me is that, like, that was what motivated them, is that they could get their nicotine fix, and they can do it without having to step outside. They can do it right where their workstation is convenient, and they feel better. I mean, it's pervasive.
I mean, look at it. Changed the whole cannabis and herb smoking too. It's like you don't have to.
You can do it anywhere, right? You could do it wherever you want, and that's. I think that's. What state was it that outlawed like vaping, and was it Connecticut that outlawed vaping in bars, or was it Massachusetts?
California has.
I don't know.
California?
That's a good question.
You can't, or it might be at the discretion, or it might be a city ordinance, but I don't know of a single.
I don't think you can vape in bars around here. No,
in restaurants, bars. Actually, it goes as far as even patios, like a lot of them have outlawed, because I think it becomes too hard for them to kind of like find out who's of age, and they don't want liability. So they just, like most restaurants, even with patios, are like no vaping.
My favorite thing to do is to like sneak a little jewel in the airport or even on the airplane. My favorite thing is when I did a couple lines of snuff on an American Airlines flight to Miami one time. The stewardess was not that pleased with me at all. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm I'm cranking out some brutal stuff.
Dude, that is hilarious.
Yeah, right off the tray table.
What do you mean?
Right off the tray table.
But Tony, did you do? But Tony, did you do one? The
Oh God!
I did it just to do it because I wanted.
Is once you did one, did you do the other nose and say, "Can't fly on one wing alone"?
Oh my God!
I had a really good friend that was huge into snuff. Like, well, he loved tobacco of every single. He would smoke cigarettes, cigars, pipes, snuff. Like, it did not matter to him.
Animals.
And and he would always do that. Whenever he took his line of, like, he would do a line of snuff, and then he'd go, "Can't fly on one wing alone."
Oh my God!
By the way, my friend is dead, and he was dead at the age of, he was a glutton for everything. Dude. So, but he lived a pretty damn hard, fast life. Nothing to complain about.
You want to be hardcore, you got to live hardcore.
That's
exactly.
Right.
So I love how we're at 42 minutes with Nick. See, I knew that this was going to happen.
Is it already?
Well, yeah, we didn't even get to we didn't get to Jeremy's fresh shit.
Yeah, what's your fresh shit, brother?
Oh shit!
Oh, I feel like it's so out of context.
We went down this road.
Come on, I want to hear your fresh shit, Jeremy. Come on.
All right, so
fresh shit.
My fresh shit is, so over the past couple weeks. So the drummer of my band is going to be moving out of state, so we're losing him just because the cost of living in California and everything attached to it. Just he wants to start a family and buy a house, and it's just he's priced out of the market, so he's moving.
Being in a punk rock band in Southern California doesn't pay well.
It's like it's a little bit less than minimum wage. I mean, a little less. Like,
sorry,
no money.
You're in a punk rock band?
Well, I played. It has a punk back edge to it, but it's not straight punk. But it's okay. Aggressive.
Right. Nick, I'll send you. Just
look
up.
I want to hear some of this.
Yeah, I'll send you. I'll send you the link.
Well, this actually has to do with what I'm saying. So we decided to do a quarantine sessions of all live recordings of a bunch of material that we haven't recorded. Our EP we did was about a year ago when we recorded it, and we have a new bass player and the sound is developed. So like we decided to do it, and it's actually turned out super well. And I finished mixing it last night. So now we have stuff to like put out there, but it's kind of just for fun because it's all live, and there's some fuck ups because it's live, but it actually like it's a fun recording. So like
I want to hear
last night. So yeah, it's that was a pretty exciting.
I just sent you the link, Nick.
All right, you email it?
I texted to you.
Texted, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
So so we're gonna be putting out some stuff and some video content with it. I mean, just for the fun of it.
What's your musical influences?
So I grew up in a bunch of like playing punk and in hardcore punk bands. So, and then I got into like, Bruce Springsteen. So it's like, hence Bruce Springsteen. I mean, boom, tramps like us, baby. We were born to run. So it's kind of it's a rock and roll with the heavy kind of dirty edge to it.
So you're into the Clash, of course, and stuff like that, or no?
Yeah, Clash. I mean, dude, I love all genres of music. Seriously, there's not a genre I'm just a music lover, but my influences tend to be on more the like emotive, aggressive. Love Bad Brains. I mean, you're talking now that's like, the Fugazi, Bad Brains, like Youth of Today, that whole that's my upbringing.
I want you to check out a song called Punky Reggae Party by Bob Marley.
It's a funky reggae party.
Bob
right.
But he moved to London and it's a punky. Yeah, that's the one. You know that tune, Tony.
I know that.
Check that tune out. There's some good history about that. He moved to London, and it was kind of like little checking out the scene. Not not knowing what to make of the punk scene.
Yeah.
And then he went to a Clash concert at the Rainbow Theatre in London. And that was it.
Yeah. It's there's so many good like documentaries now. I love Netflix and all this stuff because of like these bands that were, you know, subgenres or like had cult followings, but they weren't necessarily mainstream. And like so many good musical documentaries I have found, and they keep coming out. Like all of a sudden I'll be like, oh man, this band now has like, you know, and they're bands that influenced culture.
Yep.
But they weren't ever given credit, and they never made a living. You know, I mean, like they never.
Yeah, but isn't that how it works? It's like
of course.
The underground and the root scene, you know, is where the mainstream gets its stuff, and then they're able to take it and then market it, and take it.
They take it and then polish it, and then they feed everybody. You know, like, oh, this is our version. So you end up getting some breakthrough bands that are like,
Police and reggae. I mean, that was like, you know,
and the Police and punk, same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it's very similar, I think, to like to kind of pull it back in. It's very similar to cigars, right? Where we're kind of doing things like the last week we talked about like the what the image of the cigar smoker or enthusiast was, and it's no longer like the
same
as it was. And I think that between us and a lot of other people, you know, we've kind of set that revolution in place.
Yeah, totally.
It kind of ties with your entire platform unintentionally of legacy, like, you know, like all these bands, all these that paved the way of a certain mindset. Like, I want to be political. I want to speak up about like socially what's going on.
Say something. Yeah.
I want to like, I'm going to use my voice to like get my message out. Yeah. And then, you know, like cigars, it's not a political thing in that regard, but I mean,
that's what it is for me, right? It's like every brand is its album and every size is its track, and but it's for me to be able to express, you know, what I want to say and the messages, and people can take it to whatever level they may.
Right. They're going to interpret it how they want to interpret it, you know, and like that's actually one of my favorite things to do with cigars is I will smoke any cigar and try to smoke every cigar I see that I haven't smoked, because I like to like smoke it for the perception, like, or to like kind of like digest it. Like, what was the guy trying to say in this cigar? Yeah. You know, like because it means something, whether it's my profile or not is completely irrelevant to me. You know, what hits my palate is just what hits my palate. But I try to smoke things and go like, you know, because you hear these cliche terms like, oh, that was a shit stick or this or that. And like, why do you say that? Because you didn't enjoy it? Was it not a quality product that was hand rolled and thought about and meant? It's like looking at art.
Everybody's got different. That's the thing. Your palate you can be genetically predispositioned to taste things differently than other people. That's not so that's why it's, you know, it's weird when, you know, I remember in the 90s working the store when it was like, we'd call them like the Cuban snobs that would come in the door and they just have the magazine with the rating. They wouldn't be, you know, they'd just be all about that. And it's like, if, you know, if you weren't smoking Cubans or you weren't, you know, then it was all garbage except for Cubans. It's like, come on, man. Like you tasting, like that's a little different. You're predispositioning yourself. Back to your point though, like with the market, like I remember the woman I worked for, I worked a shop in Connecticut called the Calabash Shop in the 90s. They told me the story. Their husbands had started the store in the 70s. One was a teacher, one was owned a roofing company. They opened the store on the side, and then the wives would help run the store. At the end of the 80s, they were ready to pack up the store because the business was just sort of declining, because it was basically old timers, you know, your grandfather, you know, great grandfather. That was the image of the cigar world. And then all of a sudden in the early 90s, Cigar Aficionado hit. People have all these mixed, opinions, but it is what it is. They hit and totally transformed, what it was to be smoking. And they, you got to remember where the target was of what that was hitting. Manhattan. If you look at Cigar Aficionado, that was the target market. So that's why, the high end stuff, it was all being targeted to that. And then it spread to LA, the big cities. But it changed the perception of your great grandfather in a white t-shirt with like tobacco juice dripping down to more chic. But then it appealed also to, everybody, really. And then you see the change into, the boom in 96 where it peaked. You had so many brands, and then you had a lot of traditional style brands. I remember one of the zaniest brands that came out, early on was the Lars Teton brand.
Of course.
You know what I mean? That was
I was working in a shop when that came in. That was wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that was just bizarre.
Nick,
that was back in the day.
When
that was 96, 97.
Yeah. I remember that, and then I remember the day that Drew Estate started or sent Fabian, who originally, came in, and he was pitching the product to us. And I remember sitting with the owner, and at that point, I was just kind of a clerk, with him. But we were like, "Who the fuck wants to smoke this?"
Yeah,
our mentality was just like,
right,
so unintentionally snobbish. But we didn't know there was a market for it, and how fucking wrong were we? You know what I mean?
Listen, it was an interesting time because everything was so traditional, brand, and everything was mainly more, Latin influenced.
Yeah,
classic, Miami influence, classic, but from Latin America, Cuban influence, this style, and then. DE did come along, and it was like, well, wait a second, who are we selling to?
Right.
What can people, relate to? So it went to the other end of the spectrum.
And what was so funny is like the customer that bought that cigar was so not the guy I anticipated buying that cigar.
Yeah. I had a different experience at first.
Did you?
Yeah, because when it first came out, when I first brought in, I brought in acid the first time. The guy that came in and was requesting him was like, oh man, he seemed like he had way too many acid trips, and he was like really fried. So I was like, oh, this is like, it was like really. And then I was like, all right, this is interesting. But then, like you said, it just, all different people appeal to it.
Dude, I remember doing an event that was in the early 2000s somewhere, like I can't remember exactly, but it was a biker blues event. Okay. So I did the event, and midway through the day, I realized that it was not just a biker blues event. It was hosted by the HA, the Hells Angels. They were behind the whole event, and they had a booth right next to us. So I was getting to talk to them and know them. And I was so amazed. I had, the Macanudos, the Romeo and Julietas. I had all the like standards out there for these guys, figuring those and the bikers one by one was like, Juicy Lucy's my jam. Cuba's my jam. Some of the old school ones that disappeared, like
Dirt.
What was the one that had like nutmeg, the White Rabbit?
Oh no, that was natural. Right, White Rabbit, yeah, but
Rabbit, these guys were like, and I was like, thank God I brought this stuff, because that's where I made all the money that day.
Oh man, it was Brian Hayes, Moneymakers.
What?
Sorry,
by the box. Then Cigar Aficionado came out, then started by the LGC. Dude, Moneymakers. So Moneymakers,
man, in Connecticut Valley, right?
Yeah, Moneymaker is made by a family called F.D. Grave and Son, and I went to school with the grandson. His name was Steve Grave, and Steve had a tremendous influence in my life on many aspects. But we used to go camping. He used to live, like a half mile down the street, and there used to be woods in between. We used to go camping. He used to bring there used to be like the high-end FD Grave was a clear glass tube with like
those.
they came in a stand-up box. It was just a plain natural wooden box that just had like FD Grave stamped on the front, no bands, and it was just a glass tube with like a plastic top. That was like the high end, and it was like $2 a stick. And so that factory where I am right now was like 3-4 blocks up the street.
No shit.
And it still has the FD Grave logo at the top of the building because the building's from like the early 1900s. So it's forever has the FD Grave like etched into the stone on the top.
Do they still grow tobacco or no?
They unfortunately kind of faded out, like a lot of the Connecticut brands, kind of talking about this shift in the market trends, right? A lot of these old Connecticut brands, they didn't keep up and really know how to adjust with the changing market, right? So it's like a lot of their customers kind of faded away, and they had massive distribution, right? Like if you went to they had convenience store gas station distribution in the Northeast. Like wherever you go, you could find moneymakers and not only the premium shops, but more of the old school, not pharmacies, but where you go get your newspaper stands and stuff like that. I used to go into a place with my grandfather called Mr. Steak, and they used to have, the glass case of cigars when you checked out, and they would be everywhere, but nobody updated the packaging. Nobody updated, a lot of the production got shifted from Connecticut to Pennsylvania, and then it was shifted from Pennsylvania to the Dominican. Chris Topper from Topper Cigars still makes cigars. He's been around forever.
You remember Marsh Wheeling?
Oh, yeah.
Wheeling, West Virginia?
Yeah.
Marsh Wheeling was said to be one of the first cigars that was actually branded. They claim to be the first actually branded cigar in the early 1800s. So I have an old advertisement from the early 1900s of Marsh Wheeling, and they claim to be one of the first because a lot of the cigars back then, early 1800s, 1700s, they were all being made on homesteads. Everybody was making cigars. Every town had a little factory, everybody was making kind of unbanded cigars. So eventually, I think a company called National Cigar out of Illinois ended up acquiring that brand years ago. And National made Farnham Drive. You remember Farnham Drive?
I don't remember Farnham Drive.
Yeah, Farnham Drive was all broadleaf. You had one called Black Hawk, which was Chief of the Broadleafs. And
Chief of the Broadleafs.
Yeah.
Good.
Nick, we forgot to ask.
You got it.
Oh, we got
Go
to do it.
Yeah, the chat is claiming that it's time for shot number 4.
Okay.
We're about
And
to
then
hit
Nick,
an hour. So
I don't know. I didn't eat. I think I'm going to pass out. Fucking hot in here.
Nick, you can't be hotter than I am because I got a fan blowing on me.
I know. I got to turn my fan up.
All right.
What were you going to say, Jeremy?
What my question is, one of the things like we've asked each of the guys or ladies who have come on the show is, what was the first cigar that got you like inspired, like where you were like, oh, I get this? Not the first cigar you smoked, but the first cigar where it was like, this makes sense. Like, I'm in.
I mean, I was in probably from the very beginning. I have to say, one of the first cigars, and this is, if you weren't around in the 90s, you're not going to understand my comments too clearly. But early on, when I started going to the shop, Macanudo Hyde Park had just come out.
Oh.
No cellophane. Made at the Cifuentes factory in Kingston, Jamaica.
Was that Consolidated Cigar, I believe?
That was General. Coleman family.
Coleman, yeah.
Coleman's were very involved in Jamaica. And the wrapper was Connecticut Shade from Connecticut. That cigar, it had Mexican San Andreas binder. Connecticut shade, fillers, Jamaica, Dominican, and a little Nicaraguan. It was fucking it was fucking mind blowing. It was fucking creamy. It was round. It was flavorful, but just everything you kind of wanted. I mean, it was out of this fucking world. That was going down.
What happened to Jamaican tobacco, by the way?
We'll get into that.
Okay.
We'll get into that. It was sort of the same story as the Connecticut brands leading up to the late 90s. Big hurricane in 98 destroyed a lot of the infrastructure, some government stuff going on with the factories. A lot of the factories already had operations in the Dominican, so they kind of just shifted everything over to the Dominican Republic. The Coleman's had, big factory in general. Royal Jamaica factory was then owned by, I think, Consolidated, which then became Altaldis, and they moved everything to the Dominican. So, unfortunately, things started shifting. But, for those who don't know, Jamaica, as far as being one of the premier places to make handmade cigars up into the end of the 90s, Jamaica made some of the best cigars in the world. And tobacco predates cannabis on the island. So, the history there of tobacco goes far, really far back. As I'm starting to smoke cigars, of course, the simultaneous, interest in reggae and being introduced to Bob Marley, instead of I didn't smoke cannabis and all that at that time. I was the cigar guy. So I was just... Roy,
I was just having this thought.
That's what I was known as, the cigar guy, because I was all in,
Dude, I was just thinking, well, he's been basically, Nick has gone back unbeknownst to himself and covered almost every topic. He talked about the Cuban guys. He's talking about the history of cigars, talking about the brands changing in the night. Every topic we have previously covered, yeah. Nick has retroactively jumped on and given his opinion.
Not only retroactively, but he actually just schooled us. We just
elevated everything that we have been trying to do.
Now wait till I tell you how the blunt market really originated in Connecticut.
Well, can I ask a question? I've been dying to ask this question. Nick, I met you in person at an event at Havana House a couple years ago, and it was one of the best conversations I've had with anybody at any event ever. And when Tony and Jeremy said you were coming on this week, I was geeking out about it. And one of the things I wanted to ask you tonight, and not just for you, but I wanted to have a conversation about it in the midst of all this history, is what are some of the things, all this stuff, all this knowledge you have, this kind of encyclopedic knowledge, but out of all of that kind of mass knowledge, what would you say are some key, the key influential things that you inherited, not just maybe from your family, but from the industry, and from the things that you feel I inherited this and it has influenced my creative direction as a brand maker, as a cigar maker, as a creative person?
We're going deep, dude. Let's do this.
That's deep.
Well, I'm trying to pinpoint what you say, because what I'm talking about has all had tremendous influence on me, right? So
could you distill it though? Could you find there's this key event or this key aspect of the things that I have all distilled and that drives kind of a lot of my, I feel it I'm a writer. And if somebody said, what are some of the key influences out of all the canon? And, I could say well, there's this guy and there's this writer and there was this book.
And the Rasta for me. So right. Rastafari is my key influence. And this was happening around this time that I'm saying I'm discovering 96. I left high school. You have this period of time where you're in school your whole life, and then all of a sudden it's over. So that summer of 96 was a huge transformation time in my life, and I don't know if it's particular one thing, but many things.
Sure. I don't think anything could be to be it was this one moment.
But learning, people say at that time, Bob Marley, going into college, everybody knows Bob Marley. They have a poster and they think weed and all this. I really got into this man that personally, and I don't talk about it a lot because I don't think people can comprehend it, was like a prophet to me.
Oh, absolutely.
His life and what he wasn't a musician like he was in a musician to make money. He was on literally a mission, and that's what he was, bringing this message. We were talking about music before, and that was his medium to really, share this knowledge that goes back to the story of humanity and where we all come from. So like in the 96, that was all happening, and the cigar, go ahead, Jeremy.
You how old are you, Nick?
I'm 42. Yeah, 42.
So I graduated in 97. So like we're in the
96.
same. Yeah. So you're just one shy. I'm 41. But
2004.
Yeah. You're a baby.
Yeah.
Millennial.
I'm 52.
But Nick, like the thing is like one of the aspects that's drawn me to your brand has nothing actually to do with the cigars. It has nothing to do with me being in cigars. It's because there's something identifiable in the like context of you can see that there's a deeper root behind it. Like, yeah, you're a good blender, and I'm not trying to minimize it, but there's a lot of good blenders out there. There's tons of great cigars. What I dig and what intrigues me is because reggae was never like my cup of tea. I could appreciate it and do appreciate it, but and respect it because of the political like connotations and let's talk about humanity. Let's talk not even political, more social. Like let's love. Let's treat each other with kindness. Which goes. Brandon and I were having a conversation yesterday about religion, and I'm not trying to take this down a different rabbit hole, but what I love is like when I see you clinging to that culture, it's like, oh, there's something more about this than a fucking cigar. And, and there's always that story where, like, what is this person about? What is this? And, like part of the whole concept of this show is not to talk rapper binder filler. We can do that shit. Yep. But I mean, you have 1,000 interviews that talk about what's in the High Claire Castle or El Buense. It's like, what is this dude about? And like, that's what I was super intrigued about, because you and I have had many passings, but never like, let's just sit down and bro out, because we would end up down a deep rabbit hole and it would be fantastic, you know, because like I think there's something from my upbringing getting into the punk was because I was raised in a super conservative Christian family. Super.
Dude, another thing we have in common.
A shot.
Right. We have kids. We have these things in common, Jeremy.
So I mean, like the thing is that it just like, I was like, I understand this because I like music to me is that, like, and we were talking a little bit about how these bands influence culture, society, future ongoings to what the mainstream ends up feeding everybody. And it's like, but it starts at a root with someone speaking out about some kind of injustice or some kind of like something that like is tugging on their heart. And that's the point of music. And, cigars are a much less obvious way of doing it, but it still tells our story, and that kind of goes to like why I say, I want to smoke people's cigar to understand their story. Like, what are they trying to tell me here? Like, why did they put this in it? Is it they just blended for the sake of creating a Maduro for the market? Yeah. That's cool. I get it.
And that's what it's been exciting for me over the past 5 years, is just to like use the medium of, not just working on the blends, is to also complement the blends with packaging. Yeah. That of things that have influenced my life for all these years. So that's what you see in each one of these brands, is just you're talking about brand, impact in my life, is like each one of these brands is just stuff that has profoundly impacted or had, huge influence on my life. And
could you tell a story about the Tabernacle? Because you told me a story about the name the Tabernacle, and I wanted to get it on the show tonight, like really bad. If you
Yeah.
feel comfortable telling it,
Guys,
Yeah,
I'm taking
no,
you
I mean,
to get
yeah,
another
take-
cigar. So like
oh,
you
I
keep
thought you were going to
talking.
take us
Well,
to
this
the
is a show
bathroom.
first.
I was
We've
like,
never
I want to
seen-
see. I want to see
never
what's
seen
in
your
that
humidor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Take us for a ride.
Here's well, wait, no, yeah, here we go. This is just like it's this is the one here, but
That looks packed.
that's because we've been in the industry a long time, my friend. You end up accumulating a lot
I
of
know,
shit.
dude. I know. Nate's
Stuff
always
I
trying
like,
to steal
stuff I-
cigars from my humidor. You
Man,
should
the
see that.
fucking rich get richer over here. This is mine. This is my Havana House branded
They're rich.
Hey,
That's my
just
humidor.
FYI, if you guys
Oh,
want to know the
God.
real honest truth, and this has nothing to do with you, Nick,
I want to know
that's
the real honest truth.
the real honest truth. You do, because I just have to actually, if I can actually fucking
What
find
is
this.
that? Oh, what is? I really
What
want to
is
smoke
happening?
this. I really want to smoke this, but I can't smoke in my house. I don't.
No, I
do
just.
that.
Oh, here it is.
I like
the
that
last,
name.
This
the
is
last
good shit.
box I purchased.
What?
Oh,
That's
beautiful.
You guys
Now
may
you're blowing
think,
smoke.
like, look, that
Did
is
you buy that
blowing
box
smoke.
or did you steal it?
No,
Come on.
no,
I
dude.
know. I know.
I
Nate's got an
support
underground.
Hey,
Jeremy.
You hooked me up at the trade show a couple years ago, or Nate did and didn't tell you, but whichever it was, and that was actually of the High Clare Castle, the original.
Yeah.
But this,
What do you got there, Robusto?
yeah, no, this is I do buy boxes of cigars that I love, and
Ooh, God,
I'm-
Yeah, that's the Robusto.
we're going there. So I just
I like it.
that was the last. I bought sticks individuals, but that was the last box I bought.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm flattered.
Well, you make good shit.
I feel all verklempt.
Verklempt.
Let's talk about, since we're already way past our hour mark.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about legacy, right?
Okay.
That
We'll
was
get
our
into the
kind of-
tabernacle later.
That was kind of
Yeah.
our main thing for
Well,
the show, right?
I feel like the story behind the Tabernacle has to do with legacy because it's something you inherited. It's something that, from what I mean, I've retold that story without permission, but lovingly. I have like given that cigar away to people, and the thing is, every time I give it away to somebody, I have been like, dude, this is the story the guy about this cigar. I share the story when I give the cigar away.
I don't even remember what I told you.
You better come up with something fucking good, buddy.
Oh, shit.
Because
Okay,
he's changed his
so-
life.
All right.
Let me hear your version of what I
Okay.
said.
Okay.
I
This
All
is
right.
like
I promise.
And then
I
I'll
telephone.
fill in the blanks.
I promise that I won't. I promise that I won't use my poetic embellishments. But the basic story that you told me that night when I asked you about why'd you call it the Tabernacle, is that you said that your grandfather was a guy who smoked cigars and a man who was a big influence on your life, and he would share cigars with you and your brothers when you were probably a little too young necessarily to start smoking cigars, and then but that when you guys would sit around, it created a sacred place. Now, from my own religious upbringing, Jeremy, you may remember this as well. We know that the Tabernacle was a traveling temple. It was a like sacred space for the Jewish people when they were in diaspora, when they were wandering around, and they could pop it up, and then there would be their sacred place. And that you saw
But
the
it was
cigar,
it was where they held the Ark of the Covenant.
right?
So the Ark was traveled before they built the temple. Solomon.
Right.
To
But
house the Ark. Yeah.
Yeah, but you said specifically the thing I tell people is that like it creates the sacred space around it. You sit down and you smoke a cigar. You guys sit around and smoke the same cigar with each other. It kind of creates a pop-up sacred space that you share with somebody. You create a memory. You create a thing. And it was a good fucking story because I've remembered it.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was for me. Early on is whether people
He's like,
realize
yeah,
it.
that's a great
No,
story.
but-
I really
no, that
love
was good. I was great,
He's
man.
like, wait, tell it again, Brandon. I'm definitely going to use this
Type
at
that
the
up
next
for me.
event.
We're gonna put that on a box.
Yeah,
That
this
was
shit's
great. I gotta
gonna
write
be-
this down.
Gonna put it as a
Fire!
little insert. Put a little insert in the boxes.
Right.
Now
Is
with
this
the
being
story.
recorded so we can get that? Nate, take some notes. No,
That's
but
amazing.
seriously, that's really what it, to me, whether you realize it or not, I think people were involved in a modern day ceremony. You know what I mean? The cutting, the lighting, the camaraderie, but at an early age, just being able to, it was like a coming of age, to be able to sit with your grandfather and have a cigar. But in just the boxes themselves, like I remember I got a Diamond Crown Humidor when I graduated, that was like my, I would you'd look at your sticks, turn them, make sure they were all good, that they were all, the right humidity. And so for me, I just always loved the word tabernacle also. Yeah. And I always wanted to use the imagery because getting into, as you get into Rastafari, it leads you to the Ethiopians' claim to possess the Ark of the Covenant. Being an Indiana Jones fan, it was, kind of mind-blowing to me that I started learning that, the Ethiopians, first of all, I just thought of Ethiopia as starvation. And like, that's what we grew up knowing was, Live Aid and starvation. But pre-1974, you have 3,000 years going back to this time of Solomon and Sheba, and that the Ark actually was taken by Solomon and Sheba's son called Menelik to Ethiopia, and it's been kept there ever since. So it's that story was just mind-blowing to me. So I always wanted to use the image on the box, which is the image of Haile Selassie is on the box. That was from his coronation in 1930. Haile Selassie means power of the Holy Trinity. That was the name he was given when he was crowned king. He was born with the name Rastafari Mokenen.
Wow.
So
Ras full circle.
Is that
Ras
why?
I'm
sorry. Is that why the foundation logo is 3 points?
Yeah, it's part of it, right? There's a lot of, again, interconnectedness,
right,
simultaneous thing. That is also the crest on the Nicaraguan flag. So the crest on the Nicaraguan flag is pretty much the foundation logo. So it's the volcanoes, which also represent the countries of Central America, but also Nicaragua, most active volcanoes in Central America. Then you see on the crest, you would have actually the rainbow. Red, gold, and green. So the colors of Rasta, red, gold, and green of the rainbow is on the Nicaraguan flag. And it was said that before the Ark of the covenant between humanity and God was the rainbow. That's early in Genesis. When you see the rainbow, you will see this is the covenant between me and all living creatures on the earth. So that's already in the Nicaraguan flag. So for me, I wanted to encapsulate, of course, my love for Nicaragua, but also, having the name Foundation. It actually came from an old Nicaraguan coin from the early 1800s originally. And then we have the round version of the logo and also then the pyramid. But the pyramid, in the Trinity,
right,
is really the balancing point between polarities. In religion, when you talk religion, the Trinity is brought up a lot as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I don't know how you remove the female aspect of that. Father, mother usually generates the holy seed, which is the Son, and that's how we're all here as the next.
Well, we could, if we really wanted, in the after show. In the after show, we could talk about it because in medieval times, I'll just say this: in medieval times, the way that Jesus was often predicted is very androgynous in paintings and things. If you see like the crucifixion, and that
androgynous is a big word for me.
Like basically, there was an effort by the main, like the Catholic Church, to remove the feminine from the Trinity and from the power, but that it was artists who tried to make sure that there was that aspect retained, and they kind of tried to low key like keep those symbols and those things alive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that they pass down through their artistry. Now, you brought up a thing, Nick, about your grandfather's coming of age, ritual. And Tony has a similar story about like why he called cigars, like why he called his brand La Barba. Like it was Tony, what was for the audience, tell us the story behind like why you ended up going with that name for your brand.
Well, I mean, it ultimately the catalyst is very simple. I took my rite of passage and translated that to a cigar, right? So, all the shit that I've been through and all the shit that we've done and like all the stuff that if you look back at episodes, you could see it's a sordid past. So I think
the shots are starting to settle in. This is great. Yeah,
welcome.
I can
that's
feel
what
it.
happened. That's what happened.
Welcome to Infinity Shots.
I think we just hit the shot 7,000.
No, I want to hear this. Go on, Tony. Come on.
Just let me put shot 7,000.
Gold Schlager.
You left off at a sordid past.
Right.
I was thinking more about
Nick.
Why
it
you
doesn't
called
matter
it
where you left off.
I have to tell Tony's story too.
Well,
Nick is our guest. We should let Nick talk.
I want to get out of here.
Tony,
I hear myself talk all the time.
What's so fucked up? I don't want to have to tell Tony's story for him too. I told Nick's story that you told me.
You should tell it.
Hey, Brandon,
you should tell my story too.
Can you make up mine and just tell it too?
Yeah, I'll just tell yours about.
Let's make up a bunch of stories.
The rite of passage about going to the barber shop with your father. It's like you told. I want that story. I want you to share that story, right?
That's
I'm
a good
acting
story,
it out.
but I can't tell it right now. I've done 7 shots of Goldschlager. What are you going to do?
All right.
Jesus Christ.
So I'll you want me to paraphrase?
Yeah.
Jeremy, can you tell a story? Tell us a story.
So I'm going to paraphrase Tony's story. Barbershops is like the rite of passage, right? You shit talk. It's like where you become a man, right? So like Tony, his dad took him to barbershops for him to kind of like, it's the rite of passage. Like, and like, it's like, welcome to manhood, right? And that traditionally, that's a very common way, right? That people would kind of experience the rite of passage. Barbershops. So, La Barba is kind of a reflection on that, like thought of like, hey, this is where I come into my own. This is my own. This is my creation. I've come to my own. I'm a man now. And I love Goldschlager.
Yes.
Man, I like Goldschlager.
Yeah, I mean, that's
right.
That's what it's. That's similar, in the same way. It's that's what it's about.
It's funny because I had none of that. Mine is the so polar opposite of that. Like my parents are anti-smoking, still are. I mean, my parents, like my family that like is all from the deep South in Alabama, and like they like wouldn't tell them I'm in the cigar industry because of embarrassment of ridicule. Like
or cigars and tobacco.
Yeah, they couldn't be tobacco. Period.
So they're strict. They're really strict, like
super
religious.
Strict. Yeah, but not just like they've converted it into something else. And so, like the first thing I did when my parents said we're not going to talk about it is I went to my grandparents and told them what I do, because like that's the guy I am.
Yeah,
like I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud of like
what
I do. And what's interesting is that for me, it was a fascination. I guess there is some lineage of the fact that my uncles, every holiday, I had 2 uncles that would sit and smoke cigars on the front, and I was fascinated by them. And I've already told this story, but like when I became 18, I wanted to pick up the torch, and both passed away shortly after I turned 18. But I did get to smoke with one of my uncles, and it was kind of like me carrying on the like torch of this moment, like
right.
The ceremony as you talk about, because it very much is. It is. Right. On my 18th birthday, me and 2 of my best friends sat in my parents' backyard. We bought Snapples because we couldn't buy booze and a cigar, and sat out there, and it was like the most incredible ceremony, as you put it,
Yeah.
you know, like with each other, because we were like finally adults. We were men. We got like, so we felt, you know,
Yeah.
and still to this day, though, it's like my parents call me up and they're like, you know, my friend is in air conditioning and they're looking for some help if you want to change.
You mentioned you
And that, and I'm
national sales
41.
manager of
Change
air
careers.
conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny.
But it's like, and I've learned to just like see past it and
Yeah.
love them despite that. But
Sure.
it's like, I don't have anybody in my family
Yeah.
that smokes. I converted every one of my friends into cigar smokers. So
Nice.
now it's a great scenario.
Yeah.
But it's funny how sometimes it's like you're given lineage or you start your own.
Creative. Yeah.
And like you started, like you know, your influences led you to starting Foundation, you know. And I mean, obviously you have a great rich history in the cigar industry, like Drew Estate and everything you've done there. But like, you know, for a guy like me, it's like I'm just carving it out, but it's the same thing. Cause it's like my kids know me as like their dad, the cigar smoker,
Yeah.
the like
Right,
guy.
me too. Yeah,
And
me
like,
too.
and
Same
and
here.
it's not criminalized or demonized, and it's not a sin. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they can respect it. And you know, like I'm changing the lineage.
Yeah.
You know, like because I'm a different person, and I wanted to kind of like, you know, like, hey, I don't have to be this, fit into this or this or this to be who I am. I just am who I am. You know, and right now I do what I do with, you know, La Barba and Caldwell Cigars, but it's like, it's just one little phase in the whole life, you know, of things that will come that like, that my lineage is my children.
Right.
I don't, you know, and then my music is my, like what I hope to leave for probably my children too, because let's be honest, like, you know, not a ton of people are going to hear what I do. But if some lyric, something I say resonates with someone and like has an effect on them, fuck, I'm good. You don't need nothing on my tombstone. Throw me out to sea and I'm good.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you just hit on you just hit on our last question that I had set up for everybody. And
Boom.
maybe I mean you answered it, so maybe we can get Tony to stop sucking on the Goldschlag and he can answer the last question, which is I wanted to ask you guys, what are like some of the things that you hope to leave behind, whether that's in the industry, like when, you know, you are out, you know, decades from now, hopefully, what is it that you hope to leave behind as your legacy, either creatively or through the cigars themselves? Or, you know, Tony, what is it that you hope to leave behind through all this?
Well, I don't know. I don't have kids yet, so
An empty bottle of Goldschlager.
a very full bar, I guess, because I've been amassing a lot of bottles over our
Strange alcohol
shows. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like my dad and my grandfather have left a pretty big legacy for me. And, you know, here we are, like changing the game, kind of fucking things up and putting a little like twist on everything. But we need to get the next generation into cigars.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That comment was great.
That comment just
Tony is
Fuck it.
wasted.
I'm out.
We found that out that
Hold on, can we
Goldschlager
take a
is
quick-
Tony's weakness.
Can we take a quick piss break and water? Get some water?
Yes. Why don't you take a piss break and we'll check in with Zach. We'll
Yeah.
bring Zach in.
Can
You
we
go
get
take
to
a
get some, are we going to pipe in some live people watching this?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
We
can't
have
wait for that.
we have a person from the chat named Tommy. He's waiting in the wings.
Oh,
Zach-
Tommy's coming in?
Yeah, and Zach is going to check in with us. Why don't you go take a piss break, Tony? You need to refill that water
Tony,
bottle.
get some water. I want you to keep going because I want to hear everything you
You
have
want
to
to,
say.
you want to keep going?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
want
God.
to say anything. You're
Dude,
talking.
he's-
Get ready.
You want me?
Tony, the more
I'll
the
be
more
right back.
drunk
I'll be right back.
people just listening, the more drunk Tony gets. You can't see it. The smaller he becomes.
He goes
in
like
the
this.
camera.
Soon it's gonna be like this.
Everybody wants to keep making me do shots. What do you want me to do?
Hey guys, I just want to talk about.
Jeremy, that's exactly. Tony's shrinking further away. He was like, getting down.
Oh my gosh, I pushed the seat off.
Oh my god, that is fucking Zach. Let's bring in Zach.
Hey,
All right.
Can we check in with Zach and I go P2? I really have to
All
go.
right. Okay. We will let you go pee, and we'll bring in Zach. Zach, put the bottle down, Zach. Good God, man. You were bringing into the show. Oh wait, can we hear you? Oh God, Tony, can you talk for Zach? Can you read his lip?
Hey, I'm just in Tucson, just hanging out. I can't believe I can't be heard again. I don't understand what's going on. It's probably too hot, so I'm just gonna drink right out of the bottle, and there we go. Yeah, it's not that bad. We're gonna smoke some Foundation cigars. There we go.
Zach,
Puff.
can I ask you? Yeah, Tabernacle.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
We were talking
We're
about
smoking a
that.
little Tabernacle.
So, Zach, let me ask you, what is your favorite Foundation cigar? Is it the Tabernacle or something else?
My favorite cigar out of the Tabernacle. Like, why is this a thing? My favorite cigar out of the Foundation portfolio is the High Clerk Castle Maduro. And I really like that cigar, but the Wallense was the one that really actually, you have to
really change the game.
It really changed the game. And so I was thinking about the new High Clerk Castle Maduro, and I thought it was very good. And that's why I'm smoking it right now.
Well,
it's very good. It's a very good cigar. So I was just sitting here smoking it, and we were having a good time.
Well, Zach, I just want to let you know something. Starting next week, you're not going to be the only rep that we're going to check in with, okay? So for everybody who's listening who likes the Check In with Zach segment, next week we are going to randomly select one of the Caldwell La Barba reps to be the person that we call. And they're not going to know who is getting called into the show.
Oh, I'm
so,
just going to drink this bourbon.
Yeah, you keep doing that, Zach.
I don't even care.
So it may be somebody who is not even aware that the show is happening. One of the reps will get called in. We really love checking in with Zach, but we're going to try to expand the reach a little bit and check in with some of the other guys. Zach, it's been great to not check in with you. I mean, to sort of check in with you on
I'm
tonight.
very happy. Thank you.
Yes. Well, and thank you for pulling somebody in. Tommy, if you're still listening out there, we are going to pull you in here in maybe about the next 8 minutes. So if you can hang in there, we're going to bring you in and you can hang out in the after show. Everybody back from your pee breaks?
Hey, can I mention something hilarious?
Yo,
so I
what up?
run inside to go to the bathroom, and my 7-year-old is scootering in the backyard in just her panties because it's so hot. And I was laughing hysterically. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like,
that's your child. That is your legacy right there.
That sounds very much like what
already
your child should
fulfilled.
do.
Take me away, Lord Jesus. My job is done.
Oh my God.
That's what I feel like doing right now. It's hot.
Dude.
Crazy hot.
So let me tell you something. I had my shirt off before we started, and my lady comes in and she's like, "You can't do that shirtless." And I was like, "I'm too fucking hot. I can do this shirtless." And she's like, "But people will see this." And I was like, "Yeah, and it's me." I mean, the expectation, the bar is not high when you're talking about Jeremy McDonald, right?
These Irish eyes are smiling.
Yeah.
Oh, a touch of the Irish in you.
So
I don't know. That's just terrible. I think my Scottish is better. Sorry,
out
Jeremy.
of respect for you guys, I am clothed, but otherwise I would be disrobed.
Well, I think Tony might be heading that direction too.
Yeah, he might be.
Tony doesn't get naked when he gets drunk. He just gets super I love you and deep.
I get super.
I love drunk Tony. He's my favorite because it's like I get to be like the feminine side of me gets to come out because I get to embrace
Yes.
my
Yes.
fellow like lover, which I do love Tony. Like that is a true statement, but I get to embrace him and be like, we can be gay together without actually like, you know, and it actually be like an honest, like I that's not actually a joke. I love the like intimate moments with
There's some
Tony.
confessions coming out right now.
There are.
You
What
have
I
no
want to
idea.
what I want to confess right now.
This show took a big turn.
It did. What I want to confess right now is that I've been smelling smoke the whole episode, but I'm not smoking in here. And I've been like, what the fuck? Why can I smell it? Like, and I just realized, see, Tony also being my best man at my wedding, he also DJ'd and he was an amazing DJ. And he packed up, he took this microphone with him. He used it at the wedding. I brought it and then he packed it up. And it's been with him all while I've been on my honeymoon and shit. So I got it back from him today, and it smells like cigarettes. I just realized
You can't judge.
it smells like cigarettes. It smells like American Spirits, the microphone.
That's where you say, Tony, you're welcome.
Right.
You're welcome.
Oh, Jesus. All right. With that being said, I think it's time to shoot your shot. And we're going to bring in Tommy. Tommy's
coming in.
Tommy.
Oh, he's coming in hot.
Tommy, are you there,
yeah.
Tommy?
There's no weird pictures here, Tommy.
Oh, God. Oh,
there he is.
Hey!
My man.
Hola, gentlemen.
Saludos, Tommy.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
What
How's
is
it
going on,
going?
my friend?
We're drunk. We're fucking podcasting.
Oh, I'm just sitting here in fabulous Columbia, Missouri, doing my due.
Nice.
So those of you who don't know, Tommy is a fireman, and
Oh,
he is.
hell yeah. Hey.
No,
Well, sorry.
shit.
Tommy is a firefighter. Firemen shovel coal on trains.
Ah,
Fuck
Fair
us,
enough.
then.
Tommy is the man that's going to save you. I actually had a good conversation with Tommy once, and I asked him if people like where the whole cat in a tree thing came from.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm curious about history. Why is there this like connotation to like
Sure.
firemen saving cats out of a tree?
Right.
And I don't remember his response at all. But I remember we talked. I asked him about it.
Well, that was
I'll kill you.
Jeremy. Thank you. So maybe Tommy can shed some light on that. Does Tommy know? Where does that come from, Tommy?
So it came from many years ago, much like sending someone to get hot water when somebody's having a baby.
Right.
It's a myth. Firemen do not get cats out of a tree, generally speaking. But back in the day, as goodwill towards our communities, we would go and rescue cats or other animals, and it just kind of carried through because of the whole dog in the firehouse thing. Cat
Right.
lovers felt left out, I guess.
There
And
you
on
go.
a side note, Nick, love the Habano seated tabernacle.
Awesome, man.
Fuck yeah.
Glad you enjoy it.
Hey, Tommy, do you have a drink? Because we should cheers since you just joined us.
Yes, I have my Patty's Irish whiskey right here.
Nicely done.
It got more of the Irish in it.
Yeah, I'm not going to try.
I had a
Nope,
firefighter save me.
just out saving the world, that's all.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I was 7 years old, I got my arm stuck in a pool table. I won't.
That's weird.
So I was at.
How the fuck do you get your arm stuck in a pool
Oh
table?
my
So
god.
it was one of
Like-
the pool
Oh.
tables where it had the balls would go through the return. It wasn't just like a little net ball.
Who?
Everybody's laughing at you, Brandon.
That's fine. They can laugh. So I like as a kid, I had skinny little arms. I tried to reach my arm like down
Yeah,
in
get
the
the
hole,
ball.
and my arm got fucking stuck. And I was stuck there for like 2 hours.
Wow, everybody got quiet when I came on. What the hell?
No, can you hear us, Tommy? Can you hear us,
You hear us? Hello?
Tommy?
I'm here. I got everybody. I'm
okay.
listening. I'm
Oh.
I'm enjoying the show. This has been one of my favorite episodes. This is phenomenal.
Yeah. All right, for us. Well, I just wanted to say that a firefighter showed up and
Right.
had to break apart my grandparents' pool table.
Okay, I don't hear everybody apparently.
Oh, he doesn't hear me.
Can you hear
yeah,
me,
he doesn't
Tommy?
hear you.
That makes it good. Tommy, can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you, Jeremy.
All right, so
What about
Brandon
me?
was saying that a firefighter saved his life with the jaws of life because he was in a horrid accident and the car got crumbled and they came in and had to pry it open, and so he was just paying his respects to you.
Well, thank you. I wasn't there personally, but I'm glad someone was there to help. That's what we do.
That's heritage. That's everything we're talking about tonight, right? Like
Well,
tradition and
and it's funny you
lineage.
say that because my heritage in the fire service goes back to like the 1890s in St. Louis. My family's been in the fire service. My great grandfather, grandfather, my dad, now myself, and my older brother, the asshole that he is, had to become a cop. So, but we were discussing earlier, listening to you guys talking about your heritage and how you had your rite of passage. My old man smoked Muriel Magnum cigars, which as a kid I hated. They just smelled wretched. But when I turned 19, I was home from the military and I had my first premium cigar on the island of Crete.
Wow.
Little old Crete guy, I don't even know what you call them, Cretians?
Yeah.
Hell, I don't want to be rude and say the wrong thing, but
Cretaceous is great. It sounds
yeah.
good. It sounds about right.
I was in a bar called Jackie O's in the city of Hanya, smoking of all things a backwood. And this little old guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm sitting here enjoying a scotch and drinking, having a cigar." And he goes, "Is that what you call that? A cigar?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, what do you call it?" He goes, "I'm not sure." So he walks me to his cigar shop, which was about the size of a bathroom, and gave me my first Cuban cigar, because that's what they have on Crete is Cuban cigars.
Yeah.
And it's all downhill from there. So when I came home on my 19th birthday, my father and I got to have a cigar together,
Nice.
which was pretty cool because he quit smoking shortly thereafter due to health reasons.
Mm.
So I appreciated listening to everybody's history or lineage into cigar smoking. It was a pretty cool.
Cool. Tommy, so you were saying you were smoking backwoods at the time when you were on
Yes,
Crete?
yes, I was.
That's Connecticut broadleaf, Tommy. Those were always Connecticut broadleaf backwoods, especially back in the day.
I'll believe you. Hell, I was 19. I thought I ruled the world, you know.
Yeah.
Nick, I have a great idea. If there's a way I can condense you down into my back pocket when I'm out visiting shops and want to throw some like shit at people to like blow them off, I'm going to be like, hold on a sec. I'm going to go,
Yeah,
and,
you should just
yo,
beam
Nick,
me in.
I'm going to beam you in and I'll be like, truth, take it. I'm going to be like, what's up, bitch? You don't believe it? Nick just said it. Go argue with him.
Let me break it down for you. Give me a second. Nice. That's a cool story, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Tommy, can
Yeah.
you hear me right now?
Oh, I just appreciated everybody's history.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm laughing, Tommy, because Brandon, for some reason, you can't hear Brandon.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Tommy,
worry.
maybe,
You're not missing
Tommy, maybe
anything.
it's
Don't
like
worry about it.
when you've been married. I kind of think it's like when you've been married too long and like the ohms just disappear and you don't hear. They're like, "Hey, can you take out the trash?" And you're like, they're like, "What am I doing? I'm hanging out." Excuse me, can you take out the trash? Oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And then you're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like, I think that's what's happening. He's just tuning you out, Brandon.
Well,
I just thought he was trying to act like Zach.
Yeah. Zach is my role model, so I have to say that. Jeremy, can you let him know that we're going to put him back in the waiting room?
No, I can say this much, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Coming in and being part of the friends that I've made through Tony and yourself, Jeremy. And I actually met Nick. He probably doesn't remember the night before we got together in Colorado last year at the Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest. Nick
We
was
drove
in a
you to
shop.
Yeah,
Huh?
at Havana Manor in
Yep.
Bloomfield.
Yes,
We
Yeah.
you were
cashed in
dead
then.
across.
Yep.
You were across the street from my hotel.
Oh,
And
I
I-
remember that now. Yeah,
I
remember
walked
you.
over and I met you that night because my boss at the time at my home shop spoke very highly of you, which is Jimmy Turner.
Jimmy.
Grand
Yes.
Crew. Jimmy
Yes.
Turner.
So I wanted to make a point of making sure I got over to introduce myself. But hell,
I
that seems
remember
like
that
100
time.
years ago.
Weren't
So,
you?
hey-
Wait, were you sitting on the outside table there?
No, we came in like late to the
You
event.
came in late.
And
Okay.
like it was me, Matt Booth, Tony, and Tommy.
Gotcha.
And
remember,
and
yeah.
Steve and my buddy and Steve, I think, was there. So hey Tommy, we're gonna conclude this segment, but if you hang out on for a second, we're gonna close up the show if you wanna like hang out in the aftermath.
Well, sure. I got nothing. I'm just smoking.
Rad. So we'll I'm communicating what Brandon was sharing with me because he's the boss.
Well,
So-
yes.
We all have a boss, right?
Well, I think Tommy is the best shooter shot we have had. I wasn't here last week, but I gotta say that he was, even though he couldn't hear me, hopefully he can hear me right now and say that I think that everybody who comes on after this point is gonna have to live up to Tommy. That was pretty great.
Tommy's good peeps.
Dude.
Buena gente. Buena gente.
Buena
Mm.
gente.
Buena gente.
So hey,
Allora, andiamo.
Great
Nick, is there
conclusion.
anything aside from that kind of animated thing that you want to like talk about or promote? Like you're here, so we'd like to endorse you if there's any way we can with probably whoever 6 people that are here. I don't know.
Let's see. Check out Seed to Cigar. Great time lapse video.
It's
We
awesome.
got the whole seed. It's like a 10-minute short kind of film. That's pretty cool. We did an awesome music video on the factory floor in the cigar barns. It's kind of taken its own kind of upswing over the past, I think, quarantine. It's sort of spread around, so it's getting a lot of traction there on YouTube. We're like up to like 250,000 views. I think it's getting some global, the word spreading there.
I like when you're sitting on the wall, just swinging like you're.
That's
like,
my Puff Daddy, man. That,
you're
that
Puff
was like
Daddy,
my
and they're
best Puff
going at
Daddy
it,
routine.
and I'm
yeah.
like,
1990.
All up in the videos.
Yeah, you're
all
like,
up
here's
in the
my appearance. Here's my
Yeah.
appearance.
So that was fun, and then we'll probably be making some announcements over the next 2-3 weeks. Because of everything going on. Usually we announce some new products at the show in July, but we've been a little bit behind. So the Wednesday 5-year anniversary is going to be announced probably
What?
at the end of the week, and then
Woo!
this stuff is probably not going to start shipping until the end of September. But really excited about the Wednesday 5-year. It's really like this is like a collector's piece. The whole product. So the box is just super cool. It's super rustic, understated. The size is pretty cool. It's just, I'm really excited for people to see it. But it's definitely like one of those products where it's not one of those products that's like for the humidor shelf all the time. Like the box it's got some substance to it. It's definitely a showpiece.
Cool.
I kind of intended it more for like guys to buy them by the box. If that makes sense.
Isn't that always the intention though?
Yeah, you'll see it is, but like you'll see just by the presentation and the compliments of it, it's just made that way to have like the whole box. Although the rest of the boxes, it's cool to have, but this in particular. And then we're coming out with some line extensions with Charter Oak. So yeah.
Dope.
We got the Shade and the Maduro. We're going down the middle road. So you might
Habano?
see a Habano coming down the pipe, and maybe a 50 count torpedo box coming out or something like that.
What?
And then I got a couple cool special sizes for Tabernacle coming out.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So some like specialty kind of stuff.
The Charter Oak stuff, is it going to be like $6 to $8?
It's going to be more in that. The torpedo, I think, is going to be hitting around that 7 mark. Yeah, seven to change.
That's
They're going to be a little bit,
Tony's
bit more in
asking
that.
as a Connecticut producing
he's
competitor. He's like,
No.
yeah.
He's
So
like,
where are you
no,
looking
I'm
at price
asking-
points?
I'm actually asking. Actually, I'm asking as a consumer.
Yeah, it should be. It should be in that range. So, yeah, check that out. And
Awesome.
just check out Foundation Cigars. We got a great new website up. We got a lot of, try to get some creative content out there for people when they're, home quarantining or in these new times. So, we appreciate the support.
Yeah, man,
Great to
Nick,
be on.
dude, thank you so much for being a part of
Oh
this.
my
This
gosh, yeah.
was
This has
a
been
ton
great,
of fucking
man.
fun. This hopefully it wasn't like an interview. This is just-
I get tired of myself saying the same thing. So it's refreshing to, kick it with you guys and talk, and just like we're hanging out. So this could be a podcast. I mean,
It
I don't know
is.
why there's not like 100,000 people watching this right now. This is fucking amazing.
There should be.
Jeremy's interpretation of Tony as consumer.
Shout out to Texas. Go
Uh,
Jeremy.
Yeah, so this is a podcast, and right now it's only available on Facebook Live and YouTube. You can go back on our YouTube page or the Facebook Live, and you can rewatch it after it's over. But we haven't had it as a purely audio format, but that is going to change this week.
Cool.
Where it's going to be available on Apple iTunes as just the audio stream that people can listen to, and it should post like the day after. So if you don't catch the show in the coming weeks on Tuesday, you can catch the rebroadcast on Wednesdays just as a downloadable audio file on Apple iTunes or what's the other one? Spotify
Yeah.
or the Google Play Store. It'll be on all those platforms.
So Nick, your IG, Facebook, it's just Foundation Cigars.
Yeah, Foundation
Right, so they can
Cigars, IG. We're definitely pretty active on Foundation Cigars IG. It's just been like the platform we've kind of started, and Foundation Cigars on Facebook, Twitter, and I'm Nick R. Agua on IG. I'm pretty active on IG.
And I'm the California Hillbilly on IG.
Hillbilly, I got a
Tony.
At
B.
Pilato,
Yep.
at La Barba Cigars. Too many Goldschlagers.
Too many Goldschlagers. That's what you got to change your name to for about 8 hours.
I don't know if anybody
you.
I don't know if
Till
anybody
tomorrow
wants
morning.
to follow me, but I'm Brandon Noel 85 on Instagram and _mongrel on Twitter. But
Oh,
nobody's
that's a
on
good
Twitter.
one.
Wow. Ooh.
That's
You're
a
old
good
school.
What sweater?
Mongrel.
Ask Trump.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So we'll
Yes,
close it
John.
out, right?
Wait, I want to answer this question. John Heim. Yes, I'm going to post all of the episodes that we've done so far will be available next week, so you can listen to everything.
We never checked in with Zach.
Yeah, we did.
You did his voice because his audio
Oh,
didn't work.
yeah, that's
Oh my God.
When
This
Jeremy-
is amazing.
when
Right.
Jeremy-
I had to go pee. Nick had to go pee and get some water, and you guys handled it. But it's cool.
I can't
I
believe
guess we did.
Tony
Hey,
doesn't remember that he did. his
Tony,
voice.
just for you,
Goldschlager.
I'm trying to catch up, even though I've done one for one, but I don't know what happened. I guess it's the gold flakes, but I love you, man. And
Let's do our boys.
so I guess that concludes, right, our show for tonight. And we'll
Yeah.
see you guys next week. We have another great guest. I'm not going to say who it is just
Ooh.
because that person has been somewhat unreliable. And so I don't want to say it before they actually commit.
Do we look like assholes if they don't?
but tune in. It's going to be bitching. And love you dudes, man.
8:00 every
Yeah.
Tuesday. Nick, we're gonna have to have you back on, brother.
I would love to. I would love to come back on. This is nice.
Awesome.
So if you
I
wanna hang
value
for
my neck a
second,
lot more. Yeah, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be we're gonna be in the
All right, fine.
we're gonna be in the after show. Come on next week, everybody. Try to get in the chat. If you get in the show like Tommy did tonight, you get to hang out with us in the after show, which is happening right now.
1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, 5 shots.